Or, hear me out, you go fuck yourself and I keep doing what I'm doing.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. You know what, it's been a while since we have done, it's been actually a real long time, a whining liberal men video. So that is what we are getting into tonight. I have plenty of clips. Let's get into it.
Now is not the time for Democrats to meet in the middle, because the right keeps moving further to the right. So meeting in the middle means you're actually going to the right. And you can't compromise on most of the things that the current Republican Party believes. They believe that people should be thrown in concentration camps because they don't have the proper documentation, which is not a criminal offense, it is a civil offense. They believe all trans people like me are things I'm not going to talk about in the video because it'll mess with the algorithm, and not only should not exist, but do not exist. They support a man who brags about having an election fixed by 2028 and who uses the military to bully communities he doesn't like. These aren't things you can meet in the middle on. You have to move further from the middle and tell the fascists, no, you come to my side.
I'm not taking this shit anymore. I was carrying all this shit from everybody else. Well, guess what? I'm not taking this shit anymore, not from you.
So the No Kings rally is tomorrow. Here in the US, there's protests that are going to be happening around the world. If you are in America and you care about democracy, show up. Show up. Bring friends. Get out there. Because they're more afraid of us than we are of them.
This is a real thing that just happened at a presidential cabinet meeting. You ready for it?
You know, circumcised boys might have higher rates of autism.
What are we doing here? What are we talking about here? Why is RFK Jr. sitting at a presidential cabinet talking about baby wee-wee? The government shut down. The government is shut down. Everything's the most expensive it's ever been. And you're out here being like, maybe kids like trains more if they've been snipped. What are we doing?
The guy walked up to me at customer service with a Trump 2028 hat. The other employee next to me spoke with him about the hat. He said, you must get a lot of reaction to that. Get people really riled up. And the guy said, yeah, that's why I wear it. You should see the shirt I'm wearing. Had that Charlie boy on it. I didn't even cry when my mother died. But I cried when he died. His hat said Trump 2028. And he just wants to make people mad.
Honestly, I think if you're an immigration lawyer, you should just start carrying a gun around, and whenever an ICE agent tries to detain someone illegally, you just take that gun and put it to the head of that person trying to detain them and pull the fucking trigger.
I don't care if they actually cost us the election or not. I still think the Never Kamala crowd are a bunch of pieces of shit. In the best and most generous scenario I can come up with for them, they all did a risk-benefits analysis and decided, yeah, you know what? Not voting for Harris and risking Trump getting the presidency is worth it for me to feel a little smug and morally superior. They all said, yeah, I think it's worth risking the health and safety of queer people, people of color, and the Palestinian people, because Trump did in fact say he wanted to make things worse over there, and he did. And in the most critical situation I can come up with while looking at them, a lot of them thought, yeah, Trump would actually be better than Harris, because they're fucking idiots. And I know somebody's gonna come and be like, well, I live in a blue state, my protest vote was safe. No, it fucking wasn't. No matter where you live, there was always a little bit of risk. Even in California, even if it's 1 in a billion chance of it going the other direction, you still said, yeah, that's worth the risk for me to feel a little bit smug. Y'all did the political equivalent of base jumping. All risk, no real reward. Except this wasn't just base jumping, it was base jumping without a parachute.
Why is it so hard for you liberals to accept that voters simply just chose who they felt was the better candidate? They don't have to be labeled as never Kamala voters. borders. I mean, let's really be honest here. During her 107 days that she was campaigning, what policies did she really present? She said a bunch of nice sounding things. What was it? I'm going to give $25,000 to people that are buying new homes. She never explained where that $25,000 was coming from. She talked about how she was going to get strong on the border, but she was the vice president at the time. She didn't have the title of border czar, but she was directly put in charge of overseeing the border and finding out where the immigration was stemming from. What was the cause of it? She did nothing. She was an absolutely useless vice president. But I mean, let's be real, even from her position, it must have been a little bit hard to campaign on that, right? It's like acting like, hey, I'm not currently part of the administration, because I promise if I get elected as president, I'm gonna fix the border. Yet, she's been in that administration for almost 4 years at that point. What was her excuse? Everything that she was presenting, all these great policies that she was talking about, why didn't she have any of them weaved into the Biden administration? There's so many people out there that were Kamala voters and they want to talk about how she was so highly qualified and that she was so intelligent. Why did people really feel this way? Did anybody truly open up their ears and listen to her campaign? If she did not have a teleprompter, she couldn't speak. Nothing came to mind. Her mind just seemed empty. She had like rehearsed words, like a pitch, as if you're a telemarketer. She knew memorized statements and memorized sentences, but once those ran out, she was completely lost. She was a bubblehead. Besides having no real policy, who here remembers her economic plan when she laid it out that day? And every news station, all the mainstream media was like, what? This doesn't sound like a good idea. If she had somehow won that election, those borders would have stayed wide open. She would have taxed the hell out of the rich. Her whole theory of, you know, we don't all start at the same place, but we should all finish at the same place. Yes, it's communism is what she's talking about here. She doesn't label it as communism, but if you look at all of her ideas that she had, it all led to the same thing. Socialism right on the borderline of communism. Now, on another note, why is it that several people in the LGBTQ community, they all have the same rhetoric that they like to speak about, that Donald Trump is taking away their rights? Donald Trump wants them dead. Donald Trump doesn't want me to live here. Where do you guys get this information from? What is it that Donald Trump said that makes people that are queer, LGBTQ plus community, people of color, what makes any of you feel that you're in danger, that your safety is in danger? What is it that he's done? What is it that he said? If you guys want to use the ICE phrase, I'm sorry. You guys can really look at that and say, well, yeah, he's only going after people with brown skin. 98% of these people that came into your country illegally do not have skin color like I do. Majority of all these illegal immigrants have brown skin. I'm sorry, that's just how it works out. It's not Donald Trump saying, you know what, all the people that came over the border illegally with white skin, they can stay because we're trying to turn America white again. Just get all the brown skin people out of here. That's not what's going on. It does not matter what you look like, where you came from. If you came into the country illegally, he is looking for you. Queer people, LGBTQ plus people, the spotlight is not always on you guys. Donald Trump does not give two shits about what you guys are doing, just as long as you're not stepping in women's bathrooms and invading women's sports and indoctrinating children, not overstepping any boundaries, then you're absolutely fine. Look how many gay weddings he has had at Mar-a-Lago. All of this bullshit rhetoric that you guys are parroting to one another, how Donald Trump is such a racist and how he cannot stand people of color, he cannot stand people that are gay. How come you can find more evidence, video evidence of Donald Trump talking about beautiful black people than you can of him saying anything negative towards them? The only thing that you guys can ever find that he ever says negative about people of color, people in the LGBTQ community, are things that you guys take out of context. Little parts of a video that you'll just snip out and like, that just smears the shit out of Donald Trump. Let's use that. And that's what you guys go with. Donald Trump said he wanted to make things worse for the Palestinians. He wanted to make things worse in Gaza, and he did. How did he? When did he? When did he say he wants to make things worse for the people in Gaza? Donald Trump has spoke time and time again about the waste of life in Gaza, all of the unnecessary deaths, that he wants that war put to an end. You're speaking about a president who's now put an end to 8 wars. Let's hope the whole Israel thing holds up, but he's put an end to 8 wars. And now he's going for number 9. And yet you guys still want to try and make it look like he's this bad guy, that he's a dictator. He's got everybody fooled except for you liberals, right? And in closing, he wants to compare voting for Donald Trump the same risk as base jumping without a parachute. That's exactly what a vote for Kamala Harris was. You guys took a chance on a vice president that nobody really liked until 107 days before election day. The only reason you guys liked her is that was your only chance to try and stop Donald Trump, because you've all been propagandized, you've all been programmed to dislike this man and to think that he's so scary, and none of you even truly know why. If Kamala Harris had won that election, you all would have regretted your vote.
So this video is for all those people who are all pissy and all up in their feelings because there are people that are celebrating the fact that Charlie Kirk is no longer amongst the land of the living. I've got a little bit of news for you guys. Y'all are gonna lose your fucking minds when we are lucky enough to have Donald Trump finally leave this fucking earth. Because it ain't just gonna be a handful of people or a few people from one particular party in this country that are celebrating. There are going to be fucking celebrations worldwide. You guys are going to have no fucking clue who to be mad at. You're literally going to be mad at the entire fucking planet, because the day he dies, holy shit, there is going to be the biggest global party on the fucking planet. You guys aren't going to know what to do with yourselves.
Girl, there's something called guilt by association, so it doesn't really matter if you did it or didn't do it. If you associate with those kind of people, those ignorant motherfuckers, pieces of fucking shit, then I'm sorry, you brought this on yourself.
One thing about me, I'm gonna take the edible, and I'm gonna put my hair up in a little messy bun, and I'm gonna handle it. I'm gonna get the job done. You can count on that.
So I wish upon every one of you Republican pregnant women right now, any of you who happen to be pregnant right now, I wish upon you the worst pregnancy pain ever. Okay? The worst. No Tylenol for you. Don't you do it. Your dear leader says it's bad. It's gonna give your kids the tism. Seriously, I hope it fucking hurts.
Just so you know, if you're MAGA and you come on my comments and like say you're dumb shit or try to act like I'm wrong, I actually have an education. Like, I went to college and I read books. Do you know what those are? Sometimes you can even get like a tablet to read books on, but yeah, they're in libraries. Have you been to one of those lately? Probably not. Stupid fuck.
Oh, you want to give everyone health care? Well, who's gonna pay for that? We will! You know how you already pay for health care every single fucking month? You know how almost all your taxes go to the fucking military? We could take like 1% of that and give every single fucking person health care, you buffoon! I'm fine. I am okay.
You do realize that if an American president uses the American military on American citizens on American soil, he's declaring war on the American people. You understand that, right? And if Trump does that, if Trump uses the American military on American citizens on American soil, the American people will fight back against him. We'll have no choice but to fight back against him. You understand that, right?
All right, so this guy here was kind enough to really speak to us slowly because, you know, us people on the right, we're pretty dumb and we can't really understand unless people speak loudly and slowly and very clearly. So he's trying to make us understand that Donald Trump is declaring war on the people, on the citizens, because, you know, he's using the military and the National Guard and whatnot. But can't we just flip this right back around? Like, don't all you liberals realize that when you occupy an ICE facility for what, about 120 days now, and you try and get in the way of ICE performing their job because you guys feel, you guys don't have any proof, but you guys feel that deporting people is just, it's not really a nice thing to do. None of these people were criminals. That's just Trump making that up. He just wants to kick them all out of the country because they have brown skin. All of these people are leaving war-torn countries. They're all mothers with children. No single military-aged men came over the border. That's all bullshit. Trump's making that all up. Even though we have no proof of this, this is what we all film videos about on TikTok and tell each other all day long. So we all believe this. So what we're gonna do is just occupy ICE facilities, and we're going to stop federal officers from being able to perform their duty to defend the country. So in case you libtards aren't catching on here, what you're doing is you're declaring war on your federal government. Up until this point, the Trump administration has been more than patient with all of you. And at some point, his patience is going to run thin. I've been warning about this for a little while now. You guys picked this fight. And it's all out of your hatred for, the Orange Man, because Orange Man's bad. You guys all have your own American Hitler now. And of course, you heroic liberals being so full of fake empathy have to virtue signal to the rest of the world about how you're living under oppression, you're living under a dictatorship now. America's now run by a fascist regime. And hey, if the military's not going to jump in to stop Trump, well, then the mighty liberals have no choice but to take matters into their own hands. So what do they want to do? They want to pick a fight with the federal government. And what does that consist of? Well, you have the military, the National Guard, who are trained to handle situations like this, who have also been very patient with you guys. And then on the other side of the field, we have a bunch of overweight people from the LGBTQ+ community that bought themselves ninja masks that want to pick a fight. And in reality, that's what they are. This guy here is probably one of these Antifa guys. This is what they are. They're really tough when they're in a group of a whole bunch of them with their little frog suits and chicken suits and ninja masks. But as soon as you rip that mask off their face, they run from the camera. They run to hide because they don't want to be doxxed. They don't want anybody to know who they are, but most of them look just like this guy right here. So this guy here is trying to give us all fair warning, like, hey, like, we've been patient enough. And if Trump's gonna declare war on the people, you do realize we're gonna have to fight back, right? That's what you guys have been doing so far. If you guys really think this is gonna go a level further and that you guys are gonna be able to fight back and defeat the federal government, you're absolutely incorrect. You have no idea how outnumbered you truly are. The vast majority of your country fully supports what the Trump administration is doing. Everything he's doing is constitutional. He's doing everything by the books, by the law. If you guys are saying, well, he's ignoring certain judges, SCOTUS made it very clear that these little lower court district judges that are all the way on the other side of the country could not tell Donald Trump what he can do in certain states. Now, when it comes to you liberals that are out there hitting the streets, you guys are stopping the federal government. You're stopping Donald Trump. I wouldn't say stopping. Stopping's not the right word, but you're trying to stop them from defending your country. And yes, there was millions of illegal criminals, criminal records in other countries. And these are the people that you morons are protecting. Look at all the crimes that have already taken place in the United States from these illegal immigrants. You guys don't seem to give two shits about your citizens that were born on your soil. And what you're doing is you're hurting your own home just to try and appear like you're a good person. So in closing to this pudgy libtard here, yes, Trump is going to use the American military on American soil, but not against the American people, just against domestic terrorists. Some of you liberals are proud to jump in front of cameras and claim that you're Antifa now. And then some of you want to be smartasses and make bold claims. Well, Antifa is not even an organization. Well, Trump took care of that for you. He designated them as a terrorist organization. So if they were not an organization before, well, they're one now. So the smartest thing that you guys can do is bring your pudgy asses home, stop interfering with ICE, stop interfering with federal officers. Trump's gonna kick it up a level soon. You guys are asking for it. He's been more than patient, but you guys are really asking for it. And when he does, you guys are gonna have no idea what's coming for you. It's gonna be overwhelming. It's gonna be a lot worse than you were thinking. He will use every bit of power that he has to the fullest extent of the law. And in reality, you guys are no match for him. Truth is, you guys are too blind and dumb to even really think that this is truly gonna happen to you. So, when this does happen, it's actually going to be very beneficial for people like me because there is going to be a lot of clips of you guys in front of cameras, and the tears are going to be flowing again.
So I get to spend 10 minutes with these assholes screaming at me. I'm standing here singing on my headphones, doing nothing. But they love Jesus so much that they get to harass people and scream in their fucking faces. Shut the fuck up! You're screaming about you to spit on me. You can talk to anybody. You don't have to harass people who have had religious trauma. You monster. How do we know you got religious? I've told him like every single fucking Monday. Every goddamn Monday I tell him to leave me alone. And he harasses me. Harasses me. Leave me the fuck alone. How about that? How about that? Jesus loves when you harass people. You monsters! Fucking had it.
Well, you're ignorant. You're an ignorant motherfucker, and you should read a book sometimes, you know? Words? Yes, the ones you read. And don't talk to me about politics, girl, because I know you know nothing about them. Fuck Trump. And free Palestine and Sudan.
You voted for a man because he was going to break the law, do anti-constitutional acts, overstep his power, strip you of your rights, challenge your freedom of speech, and eventually lead to a government shutdown that, if we face natural disasters, could cost lives because people won't get FEMA aid. That's why you voted for him? I think you're a bad person.
So welcome to, Incel America, the new United States, where the MAGA agenda is that black women don't have the same intellectual power as any white man or woman, and any woman does not have the intellectual power of any man in general. And that pretty much any minority should be incarcerated, and the white man should be able to run free and do whatever they want. Welcome to MAGA America.
Do not leave your man around me, bro, because I'm telling you, I'm on that though. Fucking you talking about like, yes, I would shoot my fucking shots if they straight, gay, bisexual, up, down, left, and right, purple, and green. Motherfucker, I'm coming through. I'm walking, I'm walking. Okay, I'm walking over to this motherfucking water though.
You know, sometimes it's really hard being a liberal because, on the one hand, I love pro-choice ideology because it kills fetuses, which I thoroughly enjoy. But on the other hand, it gives women a choice, which I hate. That's what I love about conservatives, is they've actually found a way to do both. More abortions, and women don't get a choice. Now that's admirable.
I know because of the progression of events and how we got here, it feels like if Donald Trump does choose to invoke the Insurrection Act, that would result in a linear escalation of the conflict with Chicago and Portland, as if the Insurrection Act has something to do with executive power or immigration. There have been so many headlines and so many videos beating the war drums over the Insurrection Act, but no one has actually talked through what it would look like. As we know, talking through scary things is how we resolve scary things. So let's do that. First, the Insurrection Act is not nearly as scary as some have made it sound. In fact, at face value, invoking it wouldn't even necessarily be bad news. And hear me out, because I read the text of the Insurrection Act and I also read legal analysis of the text of the Insurrection Act. And the only thing it actually does is allows the military to enforce civilian law. The plain text of the Insurrection Act specifically calls out that it exists to protect our constitutional rights, to protect equal treatment under the law. In that sense, there's actually a non-zero possibility that by invoking the Insurrection Act, it could result in the National Guard protecting our constitutional rights from immigration officers. This is what the leader of the Oregon National Guard was talking about. I know people in the National Guard. Every one of them is a wonderful civil servant. These are not people signing up to see action. They're signing up to help the country. The same cannot be said about some of those other people we're talking about. The key thing to know is that the Insurrection Act is not martial law. Martial law would be the military replacing the civilian justice system end to end, and martial law cannot exist without the suspension of habeas corpus. And habeas corpus can only be suspended by Congress, and because habeas corpus has nothing to do with the budget, it would require a 60-vote majority in the Senate. This actually happened once before. After the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln tried to suspend habeas corpus, and it was filibustered and blocked. Needless to say, this Republican-led, Republican-powered Congress that can't keep itself funded for 30 days is not going to have the votes to suspend habeas corpus and declare martial law for Donald Trump. Therefore, the suspension of habeas corpus will not happen, and martial law cannot happen. And if you want to read a little more on the suspension of habeas corpus, there's a really great piece published by Cornell explaining why the legislative branch retaining control over habeas corpus is essential for liberty, and that was written by Amy Coney Barrett. So now you know the Insurrection Act is not nearly as scary as it sounds. It does not suspend any rights. It does not circumvent our justice system. And in the event you trust the members of our armed forces more than some of these other officers, you might actually welcome it as good news. And once again, we find ourselves in the place where we can thank our founders. They knew exactly what would happen if somebody like Donald Trump earned the title of Commander-in-Chief and also had the power to turn the military against civilian law. So they specifically wrote our Constitution to deprive him of that right.
All right, so one thing about this guy here is he's very good at appearing like he's intelligent. Like he is very articulate in his speech. He does seem to know what he's talking about. This is one of those guys we've had on the channel several times now, and he's one of those ones that really frustrate me because I find it hard to believe that he's just dumb enough to be a liberal, because he does seem like he's intelligent. But when he's thinking that invoking the Insurrection Act could in turn that the National Guard, the military, will protect the constitutional rights of the protesters. So Trump's gonna shoot himself in the foot by invoking the Insurrection Act. I had to listen to that twice to really, like, is that really what he said? And yeah, that's where he was going with this. When in reality, look what just happened in Portland. The governor deployed the National Guard of Portland with the intent to protect the protesters. What he was using was his Title 32 powers. Trump bumped it up, and he started using his Title 10 powers, which puts the National Guard of Portland completely under federal control. So governor's orders all of a sudden pushed aside. The National Guard is now there to protect that ICE building from those whack jobs in frog suits and chicken suits. They're just trying to make it look like that's all these people have been doing out there. But for over 100 days now, I think they're nearing about 120 days now, I've seen several videos of violent activity taking place at that ICE facility. But to the point, this guy thinks he's got the Insurrection Act all figured out, and it's really not that bad of a thing. But no, that would just kind of be step one. So what he really wants to stress here is that the Insurrection Act is not the same as martial law. He is absolutely correct. The Insurrection Act is truly not quite as scary as people make it sound. At the same time, it's also not as scary as these people make it sound. Say, for instance, what he's stating here under the Insurrection Act, that federal officers or the military or whatnot could not just arrest people and detain them because of habeas corpus. Martial law cannot exist without the suspension of habeas corpus. This is where it all starts to get a little bit messy. Now, under the Insurrection Act, this is where they're incorrect. Trump can still exercise these powers. Nobody can stop him, but he can face repercussions afterwards in court legally. And as we know, well, most people with common sense know, is Trump has been working within the boundaries of the law. Most people on the left say, oh, no, the Trump administration just does whatever they want. They're ripping apart the Constitution. They're shitting all over it. But if Trump was truly shitting over the Constitution, well, then you would already have seen martial law taking place in several cities, but he cannot just invoke martial law like that. He has not even invoked the Insurrection Act. The National Guard in Portland, being under his power now under Title 10, is the closest he's come. But there's some technicalities here that he's really not looking at. So Trump can, yes, invoke the Insurrection Act at will. If he wants to invoke the Insurrection Act, he is legally able to do it. But if he wanted the military to enforce civilian law, yeah, he would have to suspend habeas corpus. Now, how do you go about doing that? Well, in Congress, it just takes a 51 vote. And the same thing in Senate. They're saying, oh, it takes a 60 vote. It only takes a 60 vote if the filibuster happens. And with Trump, right now with the current people that are in Senate, us having 53 on our side and the rest of them on theirs, no Democrat is going to jump in and vote for martial law to suspend habeas corpus. That's just not going to happen. So what's the last option that Trump would have if he really had to go this far? Well, in reality, there's two, and right now Trump is very close to one. And the first one being, let me read it out here for you guys word for word. Under the US Constitution, Congress has the authority to suspend the writ of habeas corpus in cases of rebellion or invasion if public safety requires it. Rebellion being the key word. If a governor is not helping the federal government remove criminals and illegal aliens, and even if civilians are trying to stop federal officers from doing their job, which is constitutional, removing illegal aliens and criminal aliens out of the country to intentionally try and stop the Trump administration from doing this, that's rebellious. Those are civilians rebelling. That doesn't just give Trump like endless powers where, hey, the civilians are rebelling, I could just start, detaining people and whatnot. We're just going under martial law and suspending habeas corpus. It doesn't just work that easily. Congress is supposed to say, all right, shit, we got to suspend this. This has got to be dealt with. Right now, it's kind of an emergency. Civilians are rebelling against us from defending our own country. We need to suspend habeas corpus. But still in Senate, that's not going to happen because the Democrats would still use the filibuster. But like in the Insurrection Act, Trump can just still detain people and worry about the consequences after. That does sound irresponsible, but in a case like this, it's justified. If they had to face this legally in court, the evidence is there. The civilians were rebelling against the federal government doing their jobs to defend the country. So it would be absolutely justified. And what is the other option? Well, if you just try and take down the filibuster, you would have to use the nuclear option, which has never been done for a situation like this. But in theory, it can be done. So no matter how the liberals want to look at it, no matter which way, Trump will get his way in the end legally. So if I were able to give any advice to all you liberals out there, I would stop poking the bear, because every day that goes by, you guys are getting a little bit closer. You're just itching and itching and inching towards the Insurrection Act. And anybody that would listen to this moron right here saying it's not as scary as it sounds, well, it can be. So, this is the problem with most of you liberals out there. You guys think that you're so highly educated and that you guys are such critical thinkers with all your pattern recognition and all that good stuff, is that you don't try and get in the mind of your opposition. And that's what I like to do. So he's sitting there. If you listen to this guy's clip from beginning to end, everything that he says sounds like pretty convincing. If you were a liberal, say, oh yeah, okay, the Insurrection Act, that's not much to worry about. But why don't you liberals try and get in the mind of Donald Trump and what's his loopholes to get through what this guy's saying? Because that's all I really had to do. And yeah, Donald Trump's got several loopholes to get through this. And when I say loopholes, I mean legal loopholes. So you guys can call him a dictator all you want. You can call him a fascist all you want, all that other bullshit. But everything he's doing is within the Constitution. And you guys are going to keep poking that bear. You're going to push him a little bit farther. That patience is going to run out. And the hammer is going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this one. In reality, I chose like 6 clips that I wanted to talk on for this video, but the video would have been way too long. It's already been long enough as it is. So chances are tomorrow's video, we might just do another Whining Liberal Men. So until then, you guys take care. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys.
This is your favorite majesty, King Donald, the strongest and greatest that has ever lived. Nobody's ever seen a stronger or greater or tougher king in the history of the world. And I hereby issue this royal decree to the radical left-wing crazy protesters. We urge you against drinking Molotov cocktails. We don't want you to drink the Molotov cocktails, especially when they're on fire. You could get very hurt. We don't want to see you do that. We have to say that to these people, because these are Antifa people, or as I call them, stupid people, very stupid people. Do not drink the Molotov cocktails and do not challenge the royal decree of the king. I got along very well with a lot of kings, and they said to me, Your Majesty, they said to me, Your Highness, speak softly, but carry a big scepter. I said, we don't have a problem. We have the biggest scepter the world has ever seen. You know who's got a problem? We call him Crying Chuck. He's got a tiny scepter. And he's very embarrassed about it, and he has a very hard time. He's nobody's favorite majesty. I'm your favorite majesty, and we're ushering in a new golden age in our country where anything is possible, where you could be somebody working 2 jobs as a fry cook and a garbage man and become your favorite majesty. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, but we did that, and we did it very well. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. Long live King Donald. Long live the golden age. And thank you for your attention to this matter.